Every man has been there at some point. You meet a woman, you feel drawn to her, you put in effort, you try to connect, and then it hits you. She just doesn't seem interested. Maybe she doesn't reply quickly. Maybe she gives short answers. Maybe her attention always seems to be somewhere else. And in that moment, the temptation is strong to push harder, to send another message, to prove yourself, to do something, anything, to spark her interest. But what happens when you chase harder? She pulls further away. It's like grabbing at water. The tighter your grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. This is where Stoicism becomes a powerful guide. Instead of asking, "How do I make her want me?" the Stoic asks, "Why am I giving my power away in the first place?" Because the truth is, her lack of interest is not something you can control. You can't control her feelings, her choices, or her attention. What you can control is how you respond. And your response is what determines whether she forgets you or whether she begins to notice you in a way she didn't before. Here's the counterintuitive truth. The moment you stop chasing, you become more attractive. Not because of some game or trick, but because you're showing her something rare, independence. Most men, when they sense she's losing interest, panic. They double their efforts, they beg for attention, they bend their standards. But the man who lives by Stoic principles does the opposite. He steps back. He focuses on himself. He sharpens his mind, his body, his purpose. He communicates, not through endless words, but through his presence. Think of it like fire and air. The more you chase, the more you smother the flame. But when you give space, when you focus on your own light, the flame either dies or it grows stronger. And here's the beauty. If it dies, you didn't lose anything. You protected your energy. But if it grows stronger, it's not because you forced it. It's because she chose it. And women notice this shift. When you stop reacting to every delay, when you don't fold under the silence, when you remain calm and centered, she feels the difference. She sees that you're not another man scrambling for her approval. She sees that you respect yourself enough to walk away if she isn't truly interested. And ironically, that's when curiosity awakens in her mind. Why isn't he chasing like everyone else? That question alone can flip the dynamic. Because in a world where men compete endlessly for scraps of attention, the one man who doesn't need it suddenly becomes the most intriguing. The mistake many men make is thinking that attraction is built by effort, that if they just say the right words, show the right gestures, or keep trying long enough, she'll eventually come around. But attraction doesn't grow from pressure. It grows from space, from energy, from the quiet strength that doesn't need to beg. A Stoic man understands this deeply. He doesn't waste time convincing someone who isn't ready to see his value. He doesn't drown himself in self-doubt or frustration when her attention wavers. Instead, he returns to the foundation, himself, his discipline, his mission, his growth. Because he knows the most magnetic thing he can do is live in a way that commands respect, not demand it. Imagine two men in the same situation. The first sees she's not interested, and he spirals. He sends longer texts, tries to make her laugh, asks for another chance. He thinks he's showing effort, but what she really sees is insecurity. The second man notices her disinterest, and he doesn't chase. He steps back without bitterness. He remains kind, but detached. He directs his energy into his goals, his fitness, his craft. Days pass, weeks pass, and when she glances back, she doesn't see desperation. She sees progress. She sees growth. She sees someone she underestimated. That's the quiet revenge of a Stoic. It's not about hurting her or making her jealous. It's about becoming so focused on your path that her attention, if it returns, is just a side effect of your discipline. And here's the paradox. The more you stop needing her, the more she starts wanting to understand you. Because curiosity follows strength, and respect follows independence. But let's be clear. This isn't about pretending not to care. Pretending will always show cracks. This is about genuinely shifting your focus away from what you can't control. It's about understanding that her interest is her choice, not your responsibility. And once you fully accept that, something changes inside you. You no longer fear rejection, because rejection simply redirects you toward better alignment. And here's what often happens. When she realizes you're not chasing, when she sees you can walk away without anger or desperation, she begins to question her own judgment. Why isn't he fighting for me like everyone else? What does he see in himself that I missed? That's when the balance shifts. You no longer chase. She does, not because you manipulated her, but because you mastered yourself. The power of Stoicism lies in this simple truth. Freedom comes when you stop attaching your worth to things you can't control. Her interest, her attention, her choice, that's her domain. Your discipline, your purpose, your self-respect, that's yours. And when you fully embrace that separation, you unlock a strength most people never develop. Most men let rejection define them. They see a woman pull away and they collapse inside. They start questioning their value, changing their personality, doing anything to be noticed again. But the Stoic sees rejection differently. He sees it as information. If she's not interested, it's not a death sentence. It's clarity. It means your energy is better spent elsewhere, either on someone who aligns or on your own mission. He doesn't chase what runs. He builds what stays. This calm detachment is powerful because it doesn't mean indifference. You can still care. You can still admire her. You can still enjoy her presence. But you don't depend on it. She feels that difference. She feels that her approval isn't the center of your life. And that alone separates you from the crowd. In a world where most men drown her in neediness, the man who can stand alone becomes unforgettable. And here's where the shift happens. When you no longer need her to be interested, your energy changes. You become lighter, freer, more confident. You stop overthinking every message, every silence, every delay. You simply live. You go to the gym. You work on your craft. You build your future. You become the man you admire. And women, whether this one or another, notice. Because true attraction is not about chasing, it's about becoming. Now imagine her perspective. At first, she wasn't interested. She thought you were just another man, like the rest, predictable and easy to figure out. But weeks later, she sees you thriving. You're consistent, disciplined, glowing with progress. You didn't beg. You didn't collapse. You didn't disappear in bitterness. You rose. And suddenly, she begins to wonder, did I misjudge him? Did I overlook something rare? That curiosity is the spark. And once it ignites, the dynamic flips. She begins reaching out, not because you begged, but because your silence, your focus, your discipline spoke louder than words ever could. Because here's the Stoic truth. The man who doesn't chase, the man who builds himself relentlessly, the man who can walk away without anger, that man doesn't just attract women. He attracts respect. He attracts opportunities. He attracts life itself. At the heart of it all, Stoicism teaches one lesson that changes everything. Control what you can, release what you can't. You cannot make her feel what she doesn't feel. You cannot bend her will, and you should never try to. But you can shape yourself into a man of such presence, discipline, and purpose that whether she chooses you or not, you remain unshaken. And ironically, that's exactly what draws her closer. Not games, not manipulation, not chasing, but the calm certainty of a man who doesn't beg to be chosen, because he has already chosen himself. So the next time you sense disinterest, don't panic. Don't lower yourself. Don't waste your energy forcing what isn't meant. Instead, step back, breathe. Redirect that energy into your growth, your body, your mission, your craft. Build the kind of life that excites you so much that her attention is no longer your oxygen. When you do this, one of two things will happen. Either she drifts away, making room for someone who truly sees your worth, or she turns back, realizing too late that your strength was what she wanted all along. Either way, you win, because the Stoic man never loses when he chooses himself first. And remember this, she doesn't chase you because you played her. She chases you because you mastered yourself.